I'm now being joined by Professor Angela Sayles, Chairperson, Global African Sheroes and National Coordinator, the Million Women March. She's joining us from Ohio in the United States for a discussion on this development. Professor Sayles, we thank you profusely for holding on, and it's good to have you join us on The World Now. Help us understand President Trump's position that this new rule is to protect, or rather to safeguard U.S. national security.
Yes, first of all, thank you for having me. Well, as you know, this administration has moved from a globalist agenda to a nationalist agenda. And so the general attitude in America by mainstream people, mostly, I would say people who follow Trump, they're taking a nationalist position. And so at all costs, we have protectionism of the country going on, not just from outside forces, including, people coming in, but there's also struggle inside, as you can see on the news. But his view is that the benefits should be for Americans. And of course, they have, the administration has an unfavorable view of anyone pretty much that's not American, and particularly those who are from the southern hemisphere of the globe coming into the country. There's even more unfavorable attitudes towards people coming in. So that is the reason why they are implementing these types of policies. I just found out recently that the United States, as it pertains to women in particular, has not ratified the CEDAW, which is the Convention on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. And to me, this kind of goes to that point and to that policy that out of all the countries in the world, only 4 or 5 countries have not ratified that, and the United States is one of them. And so this brings an opportunity for the country to continue down the path of having nationalist attitudes. And of course, we know that the President of the United States is not favorable towards women anyway, based on his history so far.
Professor Sayles, the question foreigners, who, particularly those who constitute the numbers of those encouraging birth tourism in Nigeria, in the U.S. rather, would say is that what threat could pregnant mothers possibly pose to the U.S., the United States of America?
Really, in real physical terms, there aren't any threats. I think that the best argument that people will have in terms of keeping immigrant mothers from coming in and giving birth to children that would then become U.S. citizens has to do everything with financials and economics. Of course, immigrant women who come here and they have children, they're eligible as U.S. citizens if they're in poverty to have the benefits that are available at the federal, state, and local levels, such as free housing, free food, access to free daycare, free medical. And so those benefits come at the expense of those that work and pay taxes into the system. And so that is the argument, is that the working people are supporting people who are coming in and taking advantage of that when there are people already here in the U.S. that are homeless, living in poverty, and struggling from day to day. And so I only see the argument being a financial argument, but in terms of any really real security threat or political threat, I don't think that part exists.
Okay, so what would your organization, Chairperson for Global African Sheroes, be advocating where this rule is concerned?
Well, thanks for asking that question. This year, the Global African Sheroes Union, in honor of the official Million Women March 20, we will be at the United Nations this coming March 12th, 13th, and 14th. And it's the Beijing 20 anniversary, which asks, how far have women come in the past 100 years. And 100 years ago, the United States passed the suffrage movement where women had the opportunity to vote. And so we will be there advocating for women. Our position as it pertains to immigrants, when you ask historically who is an American, the only people who can claim to be an American historically are the indigenous people that were in this land before Europeans, Spaniards, French, and others came to explore the land. And so really, who is an American? And so, the reason why the country is great now, and the reason that it's developed, I should say, is because people from other countries, including my ancestors, came and built the country. And so America is a country of people who migrated from other places, with the exception of indigenous people. And so, our position as women is that if you need help, you need access to better health care, because we know that's an issue around the world, that there's limited access to health care, and you're able to afford to come here and get access to that, then we support that. On the other hand, we understand the people that are here, particularly people of African descent in America who are struggling and who are considered poor. They also need help. And so there's enough to go around for both our sisters here and women who may need to come here and get the help. We don't agree with coming here just to get citizenship to eat off the land when you already, are able to care for yourself and to get benefits that others work for. But if you're making a contribution or you really need help, and you need to get access to health care and it's dealing with a human rights issue, then we will support you as a woman and as a mother.
That's reassuring, and you have our best wishes on that one. Thank you, Professor Sayles, Chairperson, Global African Sheroes, and National Coordinator, Million Women March. Thank you for your time on TVC News.